Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're here with Press Enterprise columnist Cassie MacDuff, and we're going to discuss the latest issues at the San Bernardino International Airport. Thanks for being here, Cassie.
Good to be here.
You know, they've been working for many years to kind of redevelop and revamp the former Norton Air Base, bring some of those jobs back. There's one of their centerpieces to try to attract commercial airline service. They've been working to renovate the terminal there. Initially a project that was going to cost $38 million. Now it's skyrocketed to more than $100 million. Recent grand jury report came out pretty critical of the board's airport authority's oversight of this, of the development there. What was your take when you first saw and read that grand jury report?
The first thing I thought was that the grand jury asked a lot of the questions that the airport board, which is made up of elected officials from the agencies, should have been asking all along. Why this project was rushed toward spending more and more to develop an airport, a passenger terminal, when airlines in fact are cutting back, and even an established airport like Ontario is losing flights and airlines.
They've seemed pretty confident that they're going to get an airline. Mayor Pat Morris, the San Bernardino mayor, has been kind of touting that since his first term as mayor, but hasn't ever seemed to come to fruition yet. What is your take? You think that is still going to be something that's realistic for the airport?
I think that's the question at the heart of all this. I don't think that was really the purpose of the grand jury's inquiry. I think the grand jury was really inquiring into how well the board had overseen the spending of public money at that to redevelop the former Norton Air Force Base, and whether contracts should have been awarded on a no-bid basis, non-competitive. That's not the typical form for the spending of public money, especially $142 million.
Why don't you think, you know, Supervisor Josie Gonzalez at a recent airport board meeting started, you know, raising some and having some strong words about, you know, action needs to be taken here in some respects. But why do you think that some of these critical questions weren't being asked by board members in the past?
I think board members have relied very heavily on the staff, and especially the executive director, and he had a lot of credibility with them. And I think a lot of his assurances were based on calculations that were made by regional agencies in the past and are no longer applicable, and also by the man who's been entrusted with all this work, Scott Spencer.
Are you surprised that so much work has gone to one person and his host of kind of different LLCs and other companies that just pretty much do the maintenance, and they have leases on the hangars, and they've done the construction on the terminal or overseeing that? Are you surprised by so much work being funneled through one particular person? Well,
having covered county government when a couple of corruption scandals took place, that was at the heart of one of those scandals, was a small contract that mushroomed into a multi-million-dollar contract based on no bidding. And the county really did some reforms to make sure that didn't happen again. This agency, in which the county is a party, apparently hasn't absorbed that lesson, and started out with hangar leases with Scott Spencer, and gradually added more and more responsibilities, more and more contracts to him, without ever taking that basic step of going out to bid and finding out who else was out there, who could do it better, who could do it cheaper.
You know, the Airport Authority Board, they've started to kind of push back a little bit on the grand jury report. They've said that it's filled with some, well, it's got inaccuracies in it, and they're going to spend some time at each of their upcoming meetings kind of going point by point through the grand jury report. Do you expect real action out of the grand jury's recommendations or not?
One thing that concerns me is that what we've heard so far has been pushback, errors without any actual documentation that's verifiable to refute what they are calling errors, and getting hung up on the idea that this was not a performance audit, the label that was put on it by the auditor, you know, which is semantics. It has nothing to do, they need to focus on the content of that report and address the problems that were brought up.
Right. Well, thanks, Cassie, for joining us to discuss this issue. I'm sure you'll be writing more about it in the upcoming weeks. You've already written several columns on this issue, and you can read Cassie's columns on the airport and other issues at pe.com. I'm Duane Gang. Thanks for watching.